that I'd thrown my life away. They were dreams where he was pushing a faceless little girl on a swing, smiling at a faceless woman who, even if faceless, I knew she was beautiful and she was definitely not me. In other words, bad dreams. Dreams that haunted me even when I was awake. So now I was here, and it was ridiculous, stupid, insane. Dottie would be pissed if she knew I was here. 20 years she'd been struggling to pull me out of Logan's snare, a snare I was caught in even if he didn't want me there, and wasn't even in my life. She wanted me to move on. She'd even begged me to move on. At first, she'd wanted me to go back to Logan, and she'd begged me to do that too. When she realized that wasn't going to happen, she'd wanted me to go on a date, to go see a shrink, to go get a life. Any life without Logan. None of this had worked. Now I couldn't get him out of my head. So, I was there. "Shit, damn, I whispered, looking at the facade of the roadhouse. It was run down, near to ramshackle, the paint peeling on the outside. The sign up top that said Scruffs was barely discernible considering it was night and only the neon U and the apostrophe worked. Strangely, Scruffs looked much the same as it had 20 years ago when Logan and I used to come here all the time. Except back then the C also worked, though it had flickered. There were bikes outside, less of them now than back when this was Logan and my place because it was Chaos's place, but it was still clearly a biker bar. I just had no idea if one of those bikes was Logan's. I hoped one was. And I was terrified of the same thing. You should go home, I told myself. I should. But home was where I'd been nearly every night since I'd bought my house and moved in 11 years ago. It had changed since I'd renovated every inch of it. I had not done this myself. I'd paid people to do it. But it was all my vision. I loved home. I never got sick of looking at what I'd created, or someone else had, obviously, through my vision. But I was there nearly every night, and the only times I wasn't were when I was at Dottie's or babysitting a friend's kid, or at one of the events I'd planned. The last, being my work, didn't count. Now I was not at home. I was back at Scruff's, a place I hadn't been in 20 years. I was there because Logan might be in there, and I couldn't stop thinking about him. God, this is crazy, I muttered, pushing open the car door and throwing out a leg. I got out, slammed the door, and beeped the locks, keeping keys in hand and purse clamped securely under my arm. I walked toward the building, worried about my car. I had a red Mazda CX-5 that was only a year old. I loved it. I hadn't upgraded cars in 5 years, so it was my baby. And not only was this bar not the safest spot in Denver, it was located in a neighborhood that also wasn't the safest in Denver. I had to brave it. I was there. I was out of the car. There was no going back. Before I got to the door, a biker fell out of it, shouting behind him, "Fuck you too!" And I nearly turned back. He stumbled the other way, so my path was clear. I knew I should retreat. I didn't. I went in. When my eyes adjusted to the dim, I saw the inside hadn't changed much either, except to get seedier. In fact, even the neon beer signs looked the same, and on my second eye sweep after the quick frantic one I did to see if Logan was there, I saw 4 of the plethora of them no longer worked at all. The vinyl on the bar stools was worn. The furniture scattering the space was more mismatched. Even the felt on the pool table was more faded. And there was no Logan. Actually, there wasn't much of anybody. It wasn't vacant, but back in the day the place was nearly always hopping. Logan and I would go on a Wednesday to find fun with the dozen people who were also there that we knew and partied with. Or we'd go on a Saturday and find mayhem with 3 dozen people we knew and partied with. It was Chaos's place. It was where the boys went when they wanted to tie one on, tag fresh meat to bang, find trouble, or if none was to be found, make it. However, looking around, I didn't see a member I knew.